Hey kids, what's up? It's Mr. White. I am hanging out in the basement with my cats, and we are going to talk to you about what will hopefully be easy peasy review of the concept persuasive appeal and the sub-concepts logos, pathos, and ethos. So first of all, what are persuasive appeals? Well, they are types of arguments, and there are really only three types of arguments. Ones that are based in ethos, ones that are based in pathos, and ones that are based in logos. So whenever you hear someone talking about a persuasive appeal, they're talking about the flavor or the mode or the style of argument that's being made. All of this comes from the Greek philosopher Aristotle, who made all of these observations thousands of years ago in the 4th century BCE about how people persuaded other people. And he put them down in this book called On Rhetoric. This is important for us to keep in mind because it shows us that rhetoric is not only an art where we can be creative, but also a science where we can apply techniques which have been successful for thousands of years. And in fact, essentially all developments and evolutions in rhetoric have come from, in one way or another, Aristotle and On Rhetoric. All right, let's get to the good stuff. First, logos. So when we use logos, we're asking, does it make sense? Now, rhetoric which uses logos presents an argument which is or appears to be loaded with facts, sophisticated reasoning and explanation, or meaningful data, meaningful statistics, numbers. It's important that these arguments make sense or seem reasonable. They have to feel true. They have to feel logical for an audience. And in fact, logos persuades by moving an audience to accept your version of the truth. See, here are the numbers. They prove that I am telling the truth. Do what I say. We got an example of a piece of advertising here that utilizes logos. And if we break it down, we see that the main argument here is that pop chips, okay, they've got less fat and fewer calories per chip. So you can just snarf down a whole big stack of them and not feel guilty. Thanks to those beautiful numbers, you don't have to worry about feeling bad when you eat a gigantic pile of pop chips. Next, ethos, or can you be trusted? Arguments which use ethos rely on your credibility, your experience, your authority or expertise, or your general trustworthiness. Now, how do you get people to think that you're trustworthy, that you have credibility, that you are experienced, that you have authority or expertise? Well, you can do that in several ways. The first way is having actual experience, having firsthand knowledge of what you're talking about, and using those firsthand experiences to create your arguments. You can also use the words or ideas of others who have direct experience and knowledge, interviews, studies, things like that with people who have actual experience. And this last one is important but often forgotten, and that is by presenting your argument in a way that feels sophisticated, refined, and confident. So for example, if you're writing an argument and it's filled with errors, it's going to make you look like you're not intelligent. It's going to make you look like you don't know what you're talking about. Whereas if your piece is filled with beautiful writing, it will make you look sharp, it will make you look smart, which makes people more likely to listen to you. Here we have an example of a piece of ethos-based advertising. We've got our man Shaquille O'Neal there, okay? At his peak, probably like one of the most formidable players to have ever lived, and a guy who obviously has lots of experience with sports-related injuries. So of course, he would make a good person to listen to when it comes to icy hot patches, which are supposed to help us with our sports-related injuries. It's sports-related medicine. Who knows a lot about sports-related medicine? Shaq. Oh, okay, I got it, okay. Finally, pathos. Does it make them feel? Pathos-based arguments motivate an audience by tapping into their emotions, okay? People's emotions are a very powerful thing. They often can make us do things that we wouldn't normally do. They can make us do things that we don't understand why we're doing them. They are powerful. So accessing sadness, disgust, anger, nostalgia, a sense of community, a fear or hope, that's very, very powerful, and it can make the people that you want to do the things that you want them to do. In fact, these emotions can often augment or override logical thought. For example, here is a dog food commercial. We've got our man Otis there, a little dog. He looks very sad. He is behind a cage. It says in the copy up above that he lives in a shelter and he sleeps a lot because he's so bored and people just walk by him and nobody cares and the world is a terrible place. But if you buy pedigree dog food, maybe someone will help Otis. Isn't that wonderful? They've totally bummed you out and hopefully moved you towards buying this pedigree dog food to help save this, hypothetical dog. Okay, children, make sure you jot down your notes. Make sure that you are rewatching the video if you need to. We're going to be getting into some activities tomorrow. Don't be afraid to reach out and email us if you have any questions. Bye-bye.